the one night's imperative. Like, I absolutely have to tell the pastor about this sequence of events and about this new psychiatrist. She was a fucking psychiatrist. And when I heard of her, they described like what she was wearing. She was wearing scrubs, and she had long hair, and she was kind of ugly, and she was rolling with these two EMTs. I'm like, where? We go to every single camp. We can't find her. We looked everywhere. Couldn't find her. We asked people. Couldn't find her. Well, we didn't know about this other camp. I mean, it was chaos. It was like, we'd be here, here, here. We got that unlocked, and then we'd meet another person, and they would add in, or somebody would subtract, or somebody would take off and go back to Louisiana, or whatever the case may be. So that night, I knock on the pastor's RV, and I'm like, let me in. And he's like, what's going on? And I said, I have a situation out here. I have a psychiatrist who's running around and giving people drugs, because the Chinese sent every medication you can think of. And when I was putting it away, I caught Vicodin, Oxycontin, and I almost stole it, because I was thinking I could give, if somebody was in massive pain, I could do that. And so she had grabbed all that Klonopin out of the Biloxi Stadium. I knew where she got it. And then I had seen Oxycontin, and I told John, I was like, we should get that out of there, because these nurses are leaving. We're just going to leave that door open, and then they're just going to take it. And then we're going to have a bunch of drug addicts on our hand, not knowing that there was already a bunch of drug addicts there. And this is when me and Holly start venturing off to the right of that road. And, and literally, Holly and I were so crazy. And we never really sometimes fulfilled the list. Like, literally would go by and just be like, we love you, we love you, we love you, you want to talk? Because we couldn't get anything that day. Or maybe, like, there's one girl wanted a pot. And we fucking laughed our asses off, because I found a pot, but there was holes in the bottom. And so we did this whole picture was like, we took it back to our tent, and we called it the pot to piss in, or the window to throw it out of. Because all the guys at the camp were starting to hit on us. They wanted to hang out. You know, their day ended at 5 o'clock, and we were rolling in their late time. And so they kind of wanted to get with us a little bit and hang out and, like, do stuff. And we were like, we don't have time for this shit. And so Holly was like, we should throw it in the center. And then every time the guys come over to our tent and want to walk in here, we should tell them they have to throw money in the center. So we had a pot that sat in the middle, and it was like a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of, because we didn't have either. And so we looked I never did get the pot. Ever. So the pastor's like, okay, so what's going on? And I was like, well, I have a little bit of a prostitution problem out here. What? And I said, that's what we're saying. We don't know, like, what's going on. Well, I'd found that other camp, and when I found this other camp, there was a girl named Jen, and she used to frickin' blow dry her hair every day, and it pissed me off. And so we started hitting her up and getting all frenzy with her. She had bottles of wine in there. Like, this was, like, luxurious camp that they had made out of a building, and it was insane. So we had met her, but she was being kind of like snobby, and me and Holly were like, whatever, we don't want to deal with you, but do you have anything we want? So we're keeping friends everywhere. The Buddhist people, they're lazy. We would come in the daytime, and all our people would be there. Like, all our people that we talked to, they would be there getting stuff. So we're like, just tell us what you want, we'll go around, we'll get it, and then we'll do whatever. Well, the Buddhist guy was like, I don't have anything. White guy. I'm like, I don't have anything. And we're like, hey, what's up? Trying to make friends with the volunteers to see if maybe they know of a stash we don't know about, because we want tents. So tents start rolling in, and we know somebody has them, but we cannot figure out for the life of us who has them. And so we start doing an investigation. Does Biloxi State have them? No. John Jones was gone. He was like doing something else in Florida, and then he stopped in Louisiana and was doing his thing. And then he came back at one point, and I'll tell you what happened to him. It was weird. And and so here's me and Holly, and we're being super shady. And to this day, me and Holly are still that way. Like, we always say we should have wrote a book. Right in the beginning, we said we should have wrote a book. We probably would be millionaires right now. And so anyway, I go in and I tell the pastor this. Because I'm figuring if I hook him on the prostitution thing, maybe he'll give me more stuff. Because I knew everything that was in that camp. And I wanted rice for the Vietnamese. And they were like, help me. And we were like, and we could see all the styrofoam boxes that they're eating. They were really miserable. And we couldn't figure out for the life of us. And finally it hit us one day. They want rice and vegetables. And the last thing you're going to find out here is vegetables. And the last thing we can find is freaking rice. The rice was gone already. So I call my blogger friend and I'm like, hey, ask people for rice. Because they were so misguided at that point. All the donations, they were in a heaping pile. So if you sent something to Katrina, good luck. And if you donated to Red Cross, you're insane. Because one day, we actually had an injured person and knocked on their door, and they would not open that door for danger, especially when the second hurricane hit. We were like, really? You guys just all bounced on us? Like, we're still here. We rode this second hurricane out. It wasn't nice, but it wasn't like totally death, whatever. But they jammed. Yeah, Red Cross picked up and jammed. Salvation Army picked up and jammed. And we're like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, we need you, give water, do that stuff. Because that's one less thing me and Holly had to do. So I told the pastor, I said, yep, we have a prostitution ring going on out here, and I don't know how to find it. Because I wasn't going to tell him what happened on that street. Because that was super shady. I didn't want him knowing about that. So they prayed for me and stuff. And he's like, I said, what are you going to do? And I said, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to slowly find out where all these prostitutes are out, and I'm going to slowly put them in that grassy area by the National Guard. So, the next night, before the pancake thing, we go over to Waffle House real quick. And all they had was waffles. They didn't have sausage, they didn't have eggs, they didn't have nothing. And we're like, can you make a pancake? Because we want to bribe this guy. And he was such a loser. He'd be drunk all the time. And there would be one guy in the truck and one standing guard. And so we roll up with a waffle. And we're like rushing our asses. And we had to go on the freeway. And it sucked because it was still shut down. So it's like, I think it was about 15 minutes down the freeway. And we'd go to the Waffle House, grab some waffles, and bring them to this freaking guy. And he's like, they're cold. And I go, what do you want me to do? Heat them up in my fucking, lighter? Fucking idiot. And he was like, I'll let you in. All you had to do was ask. Well, we did ask, so you're a fucking freak. Whatever. And so we did, and then he let us in. And this is when we seen the slot machine. And we're like looking for dead people everywhere. Because we wanted to mark it. And apparently, does this guy care? I don't know. He's from the National Guard. He's not even military. In the meantime, all the military in our camp, they're just sitting there. And I'm like, dude, we physically need help. We physically want you to help us. We need you to physically help us from the labor intensified. And he's like, we don't have orders. We can't do anything. We can be here, but we can't do anything. So I started begging that guy. I have pictures with him too. Big black Marine. And I said, can you come help me? I need to lift up this chalkboard stuff. And I need a couple of rings. He's like, we'll go over there. And he handed me $100. He goes, I know you go out every day. This is for gas money. Well, I had found a shell. And I was sliding my card, just tapping my shell card out. It was like $1,500. In the meantime, so I go back to the pastor. I'm telling him the whole story. And we realized at the Shell, they started making coffee. Now, mind you, I know they're making coffee, but they're not offering me a cup, and I'm doing all the work. I'm driving around until 10, 11 o'clock at night. I have no security. Me and Holly are doing it on our own. We're finding all the items we can. We're dropping off shit all day long, and every time we're dropping off shit, they need something else. Now, me and Holly got this idea to build a shower so that way we could take a shower at that weirdo camp, the crack camp. And we met these other people, Red Dog and his friends, and they smoked a bunch of weed and drank all day. So we found those three, and we came to drop off food, and they got all up in our face and stuff, and we're like, whatever, it's better than that street thing that we went through. So we gave them food. Now, at this point, I need rice, Ted's. I need somewhere for them to shit and piss, because they're shitting and pissing everywhere, and it stinks like urine and shit. And the porta potties still hadn't been emptied. Literally, we all had diarrhea and rashes on our legs. And so we go to FEMA, and we're like, what's this fucking rash? And they're like, we don't know. And they're eating a fucking pizza. We're like, where the fuck did they get the pizza? Because we knew everything. We knew every fucking nook and cranny. We even knew the stupid girl who drank wine every night. and blow dried her hair. We knew everything. And we knew that certain place had electricity. We knew that people weren't getting shit. They were going to have the city town meeting. They didn't fucking listen to us. And they're like, the indigent just needs to take care of themselves. And we're like, fuck that. You know, the indigent are important. So they're fucking assholes. And we know we need rice. And so I get my blogger girl and I tell her everything I need. Well, here comes the rich ladies. They drop us into the Walmart card and they brought tents. So we hoarded those tents to give them to like the elderly, to give them to like anybody that need like kids, you know, one of those situations. So we were just like holding back on the tent. So they're on the back of my car. And I swear to God, the seats were down and the car was stacked up to the ceiling every day because we would go steal shit. We would go. So we talked the crackheads into helping us build a shower because they're really genius. And they were like, if you play quarters with us, we'll show you how to build a shower. We're like, okay. And so we had to play quarters with them. I have pictures of it. In the meantime, Holly finds these 2 shirts with butterflies. And being the person that she was at the time, and I wasn't a gardener, but Holly ran this big organic farm, and she was one of people that did this. And Holly really has a lot of purpose in her life. And Holly's like, listen, let's put these shirts on. And what we could do is we can tell them that we're butterflies. And they'll believe us. And I say, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So we tell the pastor. And he doesn't give a fuck. I mean, he just wants to know the scoop on sin and stuff. So we're like, okay, whatever. And we keep telling him what he wants to hear, which is, you're making a big difference. Which he wasn't. Pastor Hal. Never forget him. So she's down with this guy that works in the fucking dock area. And I'm not down with anybody. And Tim and all them aren't coming. And so I'm looking for rice, I'm looking for a pot, and I'm looking for a belt, a rope, anything. And none of the camps had it. And we were sneaking into them at night when nobody knew we were there. And we'd sneak in, we'd see something, we'd like, grab it. So we had tons of shit in the back of the car. Tons of shit. Like pulleys and zip and bungee cords, everything you can think of was in the back of my car. And Holly never used her car, it was always mine. So Holly's smoking grass. We're looking for rice. We can't find it. The Buddhists already ran out of rice, so we're fucked. So we tell the blogger, we're like, we need you to like seriously dig up some rice for us. Like we need a truck full of tents and a truck full of rice. So she's like, okay, I'll look for it. I'll reach out to everybody. I'll do everything. So I tell the pastor everything, and I'm telling him what he wants to hear. You know, Jesus is so good. And he gives me this little bottle of oil, and he's like, I want you and Holly to put this on every night because we know you're in danger. In the meantime, young kids are showing up, like 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds. And me and Holly decide we're going to go take a shower because we had our new butterfly shirts that were they were like nurses' shirts, and I still have it. And it was in a pile, and Holly caught it. And she said, what we'll do is we'll go metamorphose to them and fuck with them, like, because we used to like to fuck with them. And just like anything to cheer them up. And so we drive by people and go, metamorphose, and hit the flashlight, you know, and they knew what that meant. The girls with the butterfly shirts. So Holly would go to her people at the camp, and I go to my people at that certain camp, and, you know, we would wheel and deal, and we'd try to get that Nathan guy to give us stuff, and he gave us a bunch of stuff. And the dog food's just sitting there. In the meantime, the blogger calls me and says, there's this vigilante group that wants to come and get the mangy dogs. And I'm like, you know what? I think she had puppies underneath the building. And she's like, really? She goes, okay, I'm going to call him. I'm going to have him call you. So they call me, and this lady's like, we're coming in a van tonight at 10 p.m. Now, by that time, they're trying to control it. The cops are driving by, but they're not rolling their windows down. They're just driving by, not doing a fucking thing. And we're like, help, help. Nothing. They just drove by. So one night, me and Holly, after the hooker thing, and after I told the pastor everything he wanted to hear, you know, you're doing such a difference, and we think there's a prostitution ring. And he's like, oh, yes, Jesus would totally help the prostitutes. We're like, that's what we're going to do. So me and Holly start asking around, and Mama's not saying nothing. And I'm like, it's going down. And we just don't know where it's at. And so me and Holly are looking. So one night we're driving, and we smell hamburger. Like, we knew it. It was hamburger. Like, we knew, because all it smelled like was dead bodies. And we were trying to get somebody to come deal with the cemetery. Nope, didn't have help there. Then we'd look across the water, and people were waving, like, white flags. Like, help us, help us. And it was this old community. These old people, probably where my black guy was. So I'm like, Holly, how are we going to get over there? And just like, there's no bridge. I mean, I don't know how we're going to get in there. So we knew they were like dying across the way and we couldn't do shit. We drove by them every day. And we would wave and be like, we're here. We thought of a sign. We thought of everything. So we're going to build a bathroom. We're going to find the prostitution ring. We're trying to find out why it's there. We're trying to figure out how they're getting this crap because we can smell it. And somebody is cooking fucking hamburgers. And we're like, where the fuck is it? So we drove all night long after I talked to the pastor. We got back in the car, drove around, and we find the NFL there. The fucking NFL showed up. And we see this like rolling trailer thing. You know, like where you would put like motorcycles at the back of your truck, like where you would store those. And they brought a kitchen. And they're like, do you want a burger and a Corona? And we're like, fuck yeah. So we sit down, we have a burger because we're kissing their ass because we're wanting to see, you know, how long they're going to be there. And they said, well, we talked to this blogger lady. And she said that there was no food here. Now the cops were doing this like banquet thing, but they didn't feed anybody. So we're like, what the fuck? So we tried to sneak in there and get burgers and they wouldn't give us anything. And we had the city passes. But we're like, so when those guys were cooking burgers, we like went down that street. We knew where it was coming from. And they were like, there was this blogger lady and she said that you needed food. So we came. So is your name Cindy and Holly? And we're like, yes. And so I called the blogger lady. I'm like, I'm here. And she's like, I sent them. I didn't know they were going to come. So I sit down and they're like, what's going on out here? So we break the whole situation down. Because this is the NFL, right? These are retired NFL guys. And they bring this trailer. And we're just like, holy shit. Like, we need your hamburgers forever. And they're like, we can't. I mean, we can be here for maybe 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And then we're out of food and money. And they're like, if we could bring anything, what would you want? And I said, tents and blankets. Tents, blankets, and little stoves. Those little camper stoves. Cheaper. Cheap. And pots. Please send me a pot. And they were like, okay. So every day we'd swing by and have a burger. And they would feed the fucking people. It was so fucking cool. So we'd pick up a bunch of burgers from those guys. We shot the shit with them. We kind of got a little loopy with them. And they were like, we love you girls. You girls are like epic. You guys are like the fucking bomb, man. And we're going to send you like the shit you need. We'll go back and we'll like dig for some more money and we'll fucking send you the shit you need. And we're like, fuck yeah. And we were ahead of the camps. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to always be on top of it. So sometimes we didn't tell the Christian camp. Because they were doing their thing, and they're like, we're running out of money. And I'm like, fuck. So we knew that was the only place to get real, like, some quality food, and 3 times a day, and they had ice. And it was like, yes. So they were sitting in, like, truckfuls of ice. And we were burning out. Like, we didn't have any left. Like, it was just not enough for the people. So we take our people ice, and then we find another person, and then but these set people were like our fucking diehards. So we shoot the shit with the retired NFL, and we're just like, oh my god. And me and Holly are like, I'm not into sports. No, I'm not into sports either. And we're like, oh yeah, we know who you are. We talked about O.J. Simpson. We talked about everything. And we had a cold Corona, and they had liquor and everything. And they said, would it help if we like put somebody to work and we can give them cash and stuff? We're like, yeah. So on one of our little journeys, we met this black girl, and she was living in a tent, and it was a tent that we supplied because we knew the color, and we were like, who's that guy? Like, he's weird. And Holly's like, I know, but she's a super sweetheart. And she used to wear a coat in the middle of the fucking heat. She had a coat and it had like fur around the cap, like, a ghetto coat. And, oh my god, it's such a funny story. So, it's funny and not funny. So we met her, and she had such a big smile. It was the most beautiful smile I've ever seen on a black girl. Like, she was epic. Fucking timer. So me and Holly Brat, we tell the Christian people we want to tell them. And they're like, yeah, Jesus would totally help those people, so we want you to help them. Like, we want you to help them and find out where this prostitution ring is. And we're like, okay. So Holly's like, what did they say? And I was like, bitch, you so ditched me on that one. And she's like, I'm not going in there. I'm not Christian. Like, I know. So they give us the anointing oil, which, by the way, I had for many years. That sat on my mantle, and I don't know who the hell took it. So it was from Nathan, her little boyfriend. And so Hollywood, so anyway. So we're still looking for the psychiatrist. And somebody tells us in that other camp, that weird building camp where the girl blow dried her hair and drank wine all night, that fucking bitch, yeah, that bitch, I have a picture of her too. She had fucking tents. And when we found out, we were pissed off because we had been asking her for tents. She's like, no. And the NFL guys parked right in front of that building. And they said that they opened up a hospital in there. So me and Holly are like, we're going to the hospital tomorrow. We are so fucking barraging that place. So Red Cross opened up like a donation center. So we go in there and we're looking around. We're all, where's the fucking tents? They're not here. There wasn't even blankets. There wasn't pillows. It was just clothes, toothpaste, shampoo. Where the fuck are they going to wash their hair? In the Christian camp where they don't let people come in because it was too dangerous for the teenagers? Oh, so the pastor asked me that night. He goes, could you do me a favor? I'm like, what's that? Oh, he said, we brought a bunch of young people in from the church, which me and Holly knew about. And then we found a washer. So we were like, oh my God, wash our clothes. It was inside the shower area, which we had never been in because we were too busy. And we seen these little girls coming out, and they had flat eye in their hair and shit. Me and Holly were like, when Holly and I got our first shower, it was like unbelievable. It was like 3 months, and we were like, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to us, was a shower. And we hadn't grabbed toiletries and stuff. We'd given them to the people, so we didn't like taking their stuff. But the clothes, apparently, were not needed. I don't know why people thought they needed that many clothes, but, like, seriously, they didn't have a place to lay down. So anyway, we walk in there and we're like, scamming the place, seeing if they have anything essential, and they didn't have crap. So we're like, hey, Jen, the NFL guys, they have some beer. Like, why don't you get a bottle of wine? We'll meet you here tonight, and you can have fun with the NFL retiree guys. And she's like, oh my God, that would be so much fun. And she always had her fucking makeup on. And me and Holly were like this. We were like crazy looking. And so that night, there she is, drinking her fucking wine, getting fucked up with the NFL guys. So we roll up and we're like, hey boys, hey. And they're like, man, Cindy, Holly, you guys are the bomb. And we're like, we love you too. And they're like, as soon as we leave, we promise we'll put a hand out and we'll make sure you get that stuff for like winter, the stuff you're worried about. And I'm like, I know. And we'll send you some tents. I'm like, oh, I know. And I said, and I need rice. I need fucking rice, dudes. I need rice so bad, it's like, gonna make me spit. These Vietnamese people are freaking out. They need some rice. And the Buddhists won't give it to me. So we ratted everybody out. We ratted all the camps out, what they were doing, how they were hurting people, all that stuff. We fucking ratted them out. And the NFL guys are like, when we get home, we're going to put them on blast. I was like, yeah. But don't say anything about the Christian camp. He said, no, we won't. Because that's where we're sleeping. Okay. So Jen's out there getting fucked up with a bunch of fucking NFL retirees. Her element totally. And she gets really drunk, and she slips to one of these guys and says, I have tents. I've just been keeping them and giving them to certain people that work in the community. We're like, what about the fucking indigent? They deserve to sleep on a fucking cot too. You know, you got cots and fucking tents? Give me a fucking cot, bitch. Well, we had cots in our tent, but we needed it because me and Holly at night, we were tired. But they wouldn't give us the cots. It was only for the people that were volunteering. And they were all fuckwads. They never even left the camp. So the pastor says, Cindy, could you do us a favor? And I was like, sure. He said, tomorrow, I would like you to take the young people here and take them on a tour and show them the things that you've seen. Because we really believe that Jesus would want them to see those things. And we don't have time to do it. So me and Holly are like, oh, you want to come with us? We'll show you some shit. Because we knew where all the dead bodies were. We knew the slot machines were on the on the outside. That's why they were protecting it, because all that fucking money. And then there was dead bodies in the parking structure. We knew all the dead bodies that were out there and what house they were in, because people were, like me and Holly, we were marking the fucking house going, there's a dead body in there. The cemetery's all fucked up. The people are waving the white flags. The fucking city's all pissed off at us because we want to help the indigent. Fucking Red Cross is still rolling by being assholes. Cops are going by, but they're assholes. They're having barbecues. And we're sitting there going, can we get a fucking burger? Thank you. But the NFL guy shows up, so we're happy about that. So like, yeah, we'll make you like 50 burgers a day, 100, whatever you need. But that's going to burn out of our food faster, so then we won't be here as long. We're like, it's okay. So we grab all these burgers at a certain time and go deliver them to all our people. And our people were just like, yay! yay, you made our fucking day. So we loved our people. So one day, after the pastor said that, we get these little kids in the fucking car. Now, we had watched these girls fucking flat iron their hair, and we were fucking pissed. Because they were in there with the electrical outlets and fucking going like this. And our people didn't have electricity. So we were fucking pissed. And we didn't have an extension cord. What are we going to do? We have a 50-mile fucking extension cord to give somebody electric. And we're still out there at night. There's no lights. There's nothing. FEMA's not doing shit. Nobody's doing shit. We're the only ones doing anything. We had volunteers that would just sit on their ass all day. We're like, are you fucking kidding me? Come help us. So the boys are going to help us make a shower. And they promised they're not going to look at us when we're in the shower. But then we found the shower, so we're like, can we go in there? So we tell the boys, we're going to make you a shower, and then we're going to put a potty in there, because we found a potty lid, and we're going to get like a bucket. And they're like, yeah. So we're over there fucking playing quarters with them, so they help us build this fucker. So we had to go pull nails out with this hammer. We always had tools on us. And we built a fucking shower. And we have a picture of it, too. And we found one fucking tarp. And that one tarp was pivotal, because without tarping, they were exposed to the elements. So they were hot, so they were more thirsty. And it was making me and Holly run around more and more. So we have the NFL guys there. We have Jen drinking wine with the NFL guys. So now she's going to fucking cooperate and give us some tents. And so I sneaked to the back of the building. It was Red Cross, who she worked for. And she gives me like 20 tents. And I'm just like, yes! So I go and deliver them to everybody that needs them. That right side grassy area, there's tents there, and we're all, fuck. And it's all women. And we're like, what the fuck? And then we met that black girl, and we were like, what the fuck is going on? And we're still trying to find the psychiatrist, who's a little bitch. We heard she was over at the Golden Dome. So we're like, fucking bitch. And my rich ladies are coming in, giving us money for gas and shit. And they're starting to bring shit we need, like little stoves and stuff like that. So our people are fucking living it up. They're like fucking, yahoo! Cindy and Holly come and see us every day. We would cry with them, talk with them, hug them, love them. And sometimes they'd be whack jobs. And we were just like, whatever. We still love them, and that's all we care about. So I get this phone call. And I'm like, hello? It's this weird number. And sometimes my blogger lady, she wouldn't tell me anything. She would just surprise me with shit. So the fucking cops wouldn't give us a burger. The fucking info guys are going to like leave. Jen's over here socializing with them, so she starts giving up the tents. But we heard that Bear had a bunch of tents hidden. And we're like, you little fucker. And somebody ratted him out in the camp because they were mad at him. And somebody kept throwing money in our tent. And we were just like, fuck it, let's get some more gas. Or run to Walmart and grab something, like little camp stoves or whatever we could find. And there was like showers there for like $10. But we're going to build that shit. No tarps. Tarps were all gone. So me and Holly are like so frustrated. We're so angry. And so there's times we would just sit by the water and cry, and she'd smoke a bowl. I was like, hand me that shit. And I would like start smoking it. Because at this point, we have post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, we're all fucked up. And we're running all day, every day, 24/7. Like, we have not stopped. Like, sometimes we didn't take a shower because we didn't have time. So there's a prostitution ring. Our people are getting cracked. They're not fessing up. Catfish is running around playing music at night. And we decide that we're going to do Mardi Gras. Don't even ask me what we were thinking. We were probably high. So Holly had this fucking CD called Mana Chao. And he was like, Que corazón, mi corazón, like reggae. And he was this Hispanic guy, but he spoke French. So Holly goes, let's blast that out, and we'll fucking put makeup on, because somebody was sending fucking Halloween makeup. So we pasted our faces, we made these weird faces, and we had like found some bobbly necklaces, like New Orleans necklaces, and we had those in the car. And so we were like, we're going to dress up and drive past everybody's house. We freaked everybody out. We freaked them all out because they were post-traumatic stressed, and we were like fucking scaring them, and they miss Mardi Gras. So, we fucked up. And we had this pumpkin, plastic pumpkin, and we were throwing candy in there. As we seen candy coming in, we would store it there, and we would eat like Tootsie Rolls and stuff. So we were trying to hand out candy, and they fucking got pissed at us, even the Vietnamese. So they wouldn't talk to us for a night, and we're like, fuck, we fucked up. So we have all this stuff we have to do. And so some of our camp guys were like, Do you want to go pick up a slot machine? We're like, fuck yeah. We'll fucking bang that sucker open, and then we'll have cash, and then we can give it to people. Or maybe we can fucking, give Jen some money for tents, or maybe we can give it to the NFL guys, or whatever the fucking case may be. Because at this point, Biloxi City's like, we don't care anything about your people, and we're pissed. So I get this phone call, and it's the Vietnamese consulate. I'm like, hello? And he's like, is Cindy there? Cindy, can I please speak to Cynthia Rosas with a Vietnamese accent? And I'm like, yes, this is her. Because people would call me all the time. Because my blogger lady would give away my phone number and say, call her, because she's on the ground. She's at ground zero. And so my phone was always ringing. And people are like, what can we do? What can we do? And we're like, get the fuck in here with a diesel truck and give us some fucking tents. And nobody wanted to bring us tents, so we're pissed. So anyway, the Christian people are running out of money. We're starting to get fucking nervous. Catfish is rolling around. Randy's all fucked up. He's doing psychotic shit. Cracked out people. Our Vietnamese are like, help me, and we can't do anything for them. Joseph is getting drunk with the NFL guys. They put that little black girl to work, and she had her little coat on. Don't ask me why. Very pretty. I still have a picture of her. And I'm taking pictures of all these people along the way because I'm thinking, what if something happens to them? The hospital shut down. Biloxi Stadium shut down. It was just a big fucking shutdown. And at this point, we're just like, what are we gonna do? And so we have to tell the pastors like what's going on. And so we get the little girls in the car, and we're like, okay, you want us to show them? So we took them in front of every dead body house. Those little girls cried the whole time. And we took them back there, and they were so fucking traumatized. The pastor called me into his RV to talk to me about it. And I said, well, I just took them where we go. You talk about lie. I lied the whole time during Katrina. Part 50.